Okay, here we go. Part 2 of our email etiquette notes. So just picking up where we stopped off at and discussing attachments. So attachments you won't always have in an email, but from time to time they will play a useful role. So it is important to use these sparingly. You don't need to attach every little thing. Attachments really just take up space and clutter an email. Things that you can easily attach would be any Microsoft Office documents, spreadsheets, PowerPoints, and since our school accounts are Google driven, you can also easily attach Google Drive documents, sheets, slides, things like that. Okay, then finally your signature. And in all honesty, it's best to just use your full name. So not just a nickname, especially when writing to a teacher or another official, Mr. Cook or anything like that. And so once again, an example that doesn't need to necessarily go in your notes, but just like when we did our letter writing, sincerely, and then a return or two, and then your first and last name. Okay, another thing that's important to remember is that email is not confidential. And what I mean by that is, once you send it, it's out there in that cloud floating around, and people can easily have access to that, even though you might think otherwise. So first you want to make sure that you are not providing any sensitive or private information through email. So this could be things like your social security number, bank numbers, things like that. You're not going to want to send that through email. Then it's also important to not discuss any personal problems through email. It's best to speak in person about things like this, especially remember we're thinking about teachers. And so it's much better if you just come and talk to us about it face to face. Then, do not put anything in an email that you wouldn't want other people to see. Like I previously stated, never include personal or financial information. And then like we've discussed before, it's important that you use strong passwords. So here's just another sample. So this maybe is when you do kind of have something personal that you want to talk about. This is just what you could say to your teacher. So, dear Mrs. Smith, I need to set up a convenient time to come talk to you after class. That would be enough said, and then we can have that more private conversation face to face. Okay, another thing kind of relating along those same lines. Email is not the place to work out some major problem or issue that you're having. So in the school realm, really email should be used to send homework or other assignments if necessary, to ask questions about homework or other assignments, and really beyond that, communication with teachers shouldn't be made via email unless it's relating to those things. Email should be used to communicate simple requests for information, and we've talked about that a few times now, so just keeping things brief and to the point. And complicated problems are best to be discussed by phone or in person. Okay, so just an example of how email in school could be used appropriately. So, dear Mrs. Smith, attached is my media literacy assignment. Sincerely, Joseph. Okay, then finally, it's important to keep your emails polite. Well, we've discussed email is a quick and simple form of communication. That doesn't mean we let all of our other things and thought processes go out the window. So, first, be polite. Do not use insulting language. And if you are upset about something, maybe your grade or just your assignment's not going the way you were hoping so, just wait until you've calmed down to reach out and send an email to your teacher. Okay, that is all we have for notes. Now I would like you to navigate to Google Classroom, and we're going to go over a couple of different assignments. One of them is due today, and one of them you will see is not due until next Friday. So it's kind of something you can work on in your free time or when you get your daily assignments from me completed. So in Google Classroom, if you can just follow along, the first assignment you need to do and the one that's due today is the email Etiquette. So I am going to open that assignment. And so this assignment is a PDF, so I'm just kind of going to go over a little refresher of what we do when we have to complete and submit PDFs for an assignment. So I'll just wait for it to get loaded. And so I'm going to come up here to my Open With, and I'm going to say Doc Hub. So waiting here patiently for things to get loaded. Okay, so for this assignment, you're going to read 4 of the different emails below, and you want to pay close attention to the positive and negative moves made by each writer. So think of things that we just talked and discussed with in our notes. You'll then evaluate each example using the grid on sheet 3, and then kind of be prepared to defend your answers or give me specific examples of why you're doing what you're doing. So you'll have to read email A, email B, email C, and email D. Okay, so those are the 4 emails to read and look over. Then here on sheet 3 is where you're actually going to do your work. So you're going to evaluate each of the 4 emails, listing both positive and negative aspects of each, and then rank the 4 emails from best to worst, and make sure you're explaining those rankings in the boxes. Since you're able to type, you should have plenty of room. So if you remember how this works, so I'm going to say email A, and I would want my text tool, so I would just draw my text box, and after you've read it, you would have some comment to say. So maybe the writer used poor grammar, and then remember you also want to write the positive things, so I would type something positive as well. So I would do that on each of the emails. Make sure you're explaining, don't just write positive and negative, that's not going to get you any credit. Then you would decide how you're going to rank them, which is the best to the worst. Now, best and worst, there's definitely a right or wrong. As far as 2 and 3, that's going to kind of be up to you. But so I might say, okay, this one was the worst. So I'm just going to get my draw tool, and then I can circle for the worst. Maybe this one is the middle one. So just make sure that you draw each of those. So then we're going to say you have this all completed. Just a refresher of what we do to turn it back in. So I would come up here to the 3 lines to the file and come to download, and we would choose the save to G drive. Okay, so that's saving to our Google Drive. And then I would come back to my classroom, and I'm not going to be able to go in there, but remember yours would look a little bit different, and you have to then actually go in and attach that assignment. You can't just click turn in because you typed on that. So you would go and attach that. You'll find it in your Google Drive and turn it in. So this is the assignment that's due today. Then our second assignment, email for credit. And this one you'll just be completing within the Google Doc because it'll make a copy for each of you. So you see this bulleted list, I think it's just 2 pages long, of some different tasks for you to do. So some of them are actually sending an email, some of them are looking up some information. So you should be either writing something in the box for your answer, or it should be receiving an email that is related to it. So think about what we just discussed as far as subjects are concerned, and that the subject is appropriate. Otherwise, I might accidentally, trash it or not look at it or lose it. So make sure that I know why I'm receiving an email from you. So this is not due till next Friday, so you basically have 2 weeks to work on it. So next Friday is what? May the 13th. Okay, so you have 2 weeks. Like I said, this is to work on in your free time, in other classes or at home, or when you get done with my assignments. So hopefully this all makes sense. Please let me know if you need any help.